remains rooted in California. It feels like everything is collapsing at once in Montecito, and there's no way to sugarcoat it anymore. Behind the manicured hedges and carefully curated smiles, something ugly has been unraveling. Fast, loud, and impossible to hide. While the rest of the world was distracted by Christmas lights and New Year countdowns, the Sussex empire quietly started hemorrhaging from the inside. And now the truth is spilling out in ways even the most aggressive PR spin can't contain. The first crack hit like a thunderclap. James Holt, not just an employee, not just a director, but the man who stood beside Harry and Meghan from the very beginning, announced he was leaving. And this wasn't some junior aide slipping away unnoticed. This was their longest serving ally. The man who uprooted his entire life, moved his family across the ocean, and tied his future to theirs. He wasn't just part of the operation, he was the operation. When someone that loyal walks out, people notice. And when it happens right between Christmas and New Year, everyone in the media world knows exactly what that means. That timing reeks of damage control. Bury the bad news when no one's looking. Except this time, it didn't work. Instead of disappearing quietly, it exploded. Because James didn't leave alone. Just days earlier, Meredith Maines, their head of public relations, had already bolted. 7 months. That's all she lasted. A seasoned PR professional with a reputation for calm under pressure, gone in barely half a year. And then came the gut punch. 3 more Archewell staffers quietly let go, dismissed under the polite corporate language of a new operating model. But strip away the buzzwords and what's left is brutal. This wasn't restructuring, this was collapse. This was an organization being hollowed out in real time. Sources close to the situation aren't even pretending otherwise. One insider called it a catastrophe of their own making. Another didn't mince words at all. When your entire staff leaves at once, that's not strategy, that's free fall. People don't abandon ship unless the water's already rushing in. And now, Archewell, the foundation that was supposed to prove Harry and Meghan didn't need the royal family, is reportedly down to 1 or 2 employees. 1 or 2. Let that sink in. An operation launched with grand speeches, moral superiority, and promises to change the world, reduced to a skeleton crew barely keeping the lights on. The official statements tried desperately to soften the blow. James Holt's farewell read like a love letter, glowing praise, heartfelt gratitude, carefully chosen words about shared purpose and meaningful impact. He talked about Harry inspiring him to think bigger, about Meghan finding joy even in hard moments. On paper, it sounded beautiful. Behind the scenes, former staff were choking on their coffee. Because the Harry described in that statement, according to insiders, that man doesn't exist. People who actually worked inside the Sussex machine say the reality couldn't be more different. One source described the environment as chaotic, suffocating, and impossible to navigate. Priorities shifting by the hour, demands changing without warning. No room for disagreement. No tolerance for pushback. Another insider put it bluntly, working there felt like standing inside a pressure cooker while pretending the heat wasn't rising. And the timing of James's exit raises questions that no flowery statement can answer. Why now? Why after 5 years of loyalty, after uprooting his entire life, after surviving scandal after scandal, why suddenly walk away? Insiders say it had nothing to do with homesickness and everything to do with burnout. When your most loyal soldier retreats, it's not because the mission is complete, it's because the battlefield has become unlivable. And then there's Meredith. Her exit hit differently, because if James leaving was the warning siren, Meredith walking out was the building collapsing. 7 months into the job and she was done. Not reassigned, not promoted, gone. Industry insiders say she's the type who doesn't complain, she just works, which makes her departure even louder. And word is, the breaking point came during what people now quietly call Photogate. Harry and Meghan attend a Christmas party hosted by Kris Jenner. Photos go up. Harmless, festive, standard Hollywood stuff. And then panic. Allegedly, the Sussexes demanded the Kardashians take the photos down. Imagine being a PR professional trying to rebuild credibility, only to watch your clients pick a fight with one of the most powerful families in entertainment over party pictures. That wasn't just awkward, it was catastrophic. But that was only the final straw. Meredith had already been navigating one disaster after after another, Harry's public meltdown following his security case loss, the bizarre twerking video that made people cringe, interview after interview that sparked backlash instead of sympathy. And through it all, sources say advice was ignored, expertise dismissed, professionals blamed when things blew up. The contrast in departure statements said everything. Harry and Meghan released something cold and clinical, short, detached, no warmth. Meredith's response, meanwhile, was gracious, appreciative, and respectful. PR veterans recognize that pattern instantly. When the employee sounds warmer than the employee walked away. And here's a number that should stop everyone cold. Meredith was the 11th communications professional to leave their operation in roughly 5 years. 11. That's not coincidence. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern screaming for attention. At some point, the problem isn't the staff. It's the bosses. Former insiders paint a picture of relentless micromanagement, especially from Meghan. Control without trust. Perfection demanded but never defined. Goalposts moving constantly. When something failed, blame rolled downhill always. When something succeeded, credit floated upward. And now, recruiters are reportedly warning candidates away. But when your reputation precedes you like that, top talent won't touch the job. No amount of prestige makes chaos worth it. And buried beneath all of this, quietly slipped into press language, was the detail that might matter most of all. Archewell is shifting to a fiscal sponsor model. Translation, they're stepping away from actually running their own charity. Someone else handles the work, the logistics, the money, the administration. Harry and Meghan keep the photo ops. Insiders aren't fooled. They say this is what happens when organizations wind down or when founders want distance without losing status. Awards without effort. Optics without responsibility. And the timing couldn't be worse. Just weeks earlier, they accepted yet another humanitarian award, smiling on stage, talking about commitment, while behind the scenes, staff were being let go and operations dismantled. So, what happens now? Because the money isn't flowing the way it was supposed to. Netflix hasn't delivered the fairy tale payoff. Spotify already walked away. The lifestyle brand stumbled. Speaking gigs dried up. The Montecito mansion burns cash every single month. Security, taxes, maintenance. A royal lifestyle without royal backing. And when finances tighten, reality hits hard. People lose jobs, operations shrink, and the cracks start showing everywhere. And that's before you even look at what all of this might be saying about the marriage itself. And when you step back and really look at the timing of everything, it stops feeling random and starts feeling calculated. Staff gone, operations hollowed out, responsibilities outsourced. Separate communications teams quietly established. These are not the moves of a confident, unified couple building a future. These are the moves of people bracing for impact. Royal watchers have seen this pattern before, especially with high-profile marriages built on shared brands and joint ventures. When the relationship is strong, the business expands. When the relationship fractures, the business is the first casualty. You simplify, you detach, you reduce shared assets, so the fallout is easier to manage later. And that is exactly what appears to be happening here. Harry noticeably has begun drifting into his own orbit. Separate press infrastructure in the UK and Europe, solo appearances, solo speeches, solo humanitarian trips, Canada, Ukraine. Random conferences that feel less like strategy and more like scrambling. He's positioning himself as something apart from the Sussex brand, almost like he's rehearsing